Well, good morning, everyone. Boy, that was quick. What was the shortest trial, at least I've ever followed, felt like the longest. That was a lot to take in. And I wasn't expected what happened yesterday. Wasn't expecting it at all. Good morning, Pat K. Good morning, Christy. Hey, Joy. Zach Walker, what's up? How's the weather? Mama B. I just happened to look down at my phone. And I saw a notification from Mama B. It said verdict's in. I only know about one verdict. Let's take a second and tell everyone good morning because I am antsy about this. All right, they are in the courtroom. We're waiting. Ooh, look, our girls got on pink. But it's not Wednesday. Did she get the memo? Kat said, I don't know why I feel like it's good news because it was so short. Good or bad news? Good or bad? I don't know. Look at my girl, though. She's got on pink. This is great. Susan said she's not worried about the verdict. She thinks it's going to be slam dunk guilty. Mama B said, let's pray it's guilty. Lil B, hello. Now, I unlisted the show for Michael because I don't know how long this is going to take, but it will be rescheduled. Not because Michael is not important. Anything of that sort, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about Michael's case. Walking Dead's in pain. What's wrong, Walking Dead? Serenity said, how long were they out before the verdict? Basically, after closing arguments. What time were those over? Like 3 o'clock their time? Something like that? So I don't know how long they worked on this, but first thing. Rhonda said she's wearing pink for Evelyn. I love that. And again, I was thinking about those text messages between Megan and Hunter. And I just really wish those would have been, and I know that they don't release evidence before the trial, but sometimes they get some little leaks out there. But to, prevent his downfall, I think if people had seen those texts, then they wouldn't have been on his ass for 5 years. You know? Because let me tell you what, I felt about an inch tall when I saw those. Not that I've ever talked to Hunter, bothered Hunter. I just trolled his ass on Instagram. I think he's the reason I got an Instagram. Just seems like very unfair to do, you know? Does anybody know where Uli's at? I know. Lisa said the stenographer is a day late. We got to find Uli. Today's her birthday. Hang on, I'm on call her. Where's Uli? It's ringing. Oh, are you in chat? Oh, okay, I see you now. Okay, we're getting ready to sing you happy birthday. All right, love you, girl. What a dumbass. I called Uli and she's like, it's me. And then I see her comment, she's in chat. Let's take a minute and tell our amazing, wonderful, funny, hilarious, you name it, loving friend, Uli, happy birthday. She is 21 years young today. People are messaging me. I got I can't tell you how many messages saying Brooks verdict in, Brooks verdict in. Email, Facebook Messenger, text. And I'm sitting here, people. Come on. Don't be blowing up my Al Gore phone minutes. Come see me. I bet Megan is not that I care, but I bet she's an absolute mess. Angel P goes, I did, LOL at Brooks. I missed yours, sorry. I think I got yours as soon as I was setting up the show. It's funny. But I bet she is a quivering wreck this morning. And I do wonder, is Tommy going to be in the courtroom? We didn't see hide nor hair of Angela Boswell. I can't believe they didn't have Ashley testify. I think there was going to be a lot that was going to come out in the next couple weeks had they not stopped the trial yesterday. Look at them all shooting the shit like they're old buddies. Yeah, we understand the game. We know y'all know each other. This is what I'm wondering too, Lisa. Lisa said, do y'all think it's good or bad that they reached a decision this fast? Well, we've seen cases like Murdaugh, and they reached a decision in 45 minutes, and they put him up shit creek without a paddle. Leilani Simon, I thought was going to be real fast. And it took them a couple days. But they did the right thing. Because a couple of them were really teetering on her just being, mentally ill type of thing. I think in Gannon's case, I think they shut down on a Friday and returned the verdict on Monday. I don't know if they deliberated the whole weekend or not. Boo Sheet, girl, where you been? Boo Sheet said the jury will read the verdict, but we won't be able to hear it. The sound will be turned back on. The judge will read it so we can hear. I don't know if that's how it's going to work. I have no idea. Sarah Boone got a real quick judgment, real quick. And that judge was not having her ass. DC Prime Time. She said, it took me a while yesterday to figure out that it was premeditated. Yep. I was going back and forth on that. I'm like, did she just snap? Did she leave her in that swing and came home and realized she was really sick or something? And then as they started putting it together in the closing arguments, I'm like, oh no, she planned this. She met Chicken Shack and she was like, yeah, nothing's going to get in the way of Chicken Shack. No way. Pat Case said premeditation can be 10 minutes before the crime. Good point. Very good point. Yeah, just wait till they bring her in. I'm telling you, she is going to be shaken. Because yesterday she could barely contain herself. I mean, she wasn't like crying or anything that I noticed. But you could clearly see she was very shaken. Good morning, Muscles and Mascara. All right, here she comes. Oh, she got a bow in her hair. Oh, she got a shower. No shit, Virginia. I was thinking about that yesterday. I was putting up dishes and stuff like that, and I'm like, then I was thinking about the pictures of Maggie's house, Megan's house. Some people call her Maggie. And I was like, hell, just me putting up these few dishes is probably more than that bitch ever did in that trailer. Exactly, Virginia. Virginia said, I did 2 loads of laundry this morning. That's more than she's done her whole life. For sure. Wonder who put the bow in her hair. Yeah, she's shaking. Look at the widow bow. She got a widow bow in her hair. How disgusting, considering she always put bows in Evelyn's hair. Which, again, talk about a beautiful baby. My goodness. Those little chubby hands and little fat rolls on her legs, those little bitty teeth. This is a very good comparison. Radio God said that house was disgusting, just like another family from Tennessee. Okay. Who has a filthier house? Candace Wells or Megan Boswell? I still got to say Candace hit a home run on her housekeeping. Muscles, you were in the courtroom on Tuesday? Hang on, Muscles, grab the link. Grab the link. Come on, Muscles. Boo Sheet doesn't think that the Wells house looks as bad. It was pretty damn bad. Britt said she thinks the trailer was worse. Oh, look at this. Muscles is going to come up, but right now she's in the shower. So Muscles is naked, talking to all of us, everybody. Thank you, Muscles, for thinking about us all in the shower. Moth's mummy, why are we saying premeditated? Well, if you listen to the closing arguments yesterday, I mean, everything that Megan had going on led up to Evelyn's murder. Muscles, you in there getting all the vital parts and everything? Does anybody need to walk you through this? Make sure you do face first and then ass crack. Don't get it backward, okay? We're all here for you, Muscles. Some people use 2 different washcloths, Muscles, but they're 2 different colors, so they know what's for face and what's for ass. I'm sure you have your own system. Boo Sheet. Girl, where you been, by the way? I haven't seen you in forever. She said, Brooks, they didn't have shit and dirty diapers. Just do a poll. I already did a poll. We already had the conversation. True Crime Beat. Brooks, you seem to be very knowledgeable about that. Yes, and hotel soap. Hotel soap, you know? You get that little sliver of soap. V. Oakley said she was listening while in the shower yesterday. She would have laughed her ass off if she heard her name from the device while scrubbing her ass. Nope, just Muscles. Muscles says she understands the whole washcloth situation, face then ass, but she said her husband's still trying to figure it out. Yep, we have a verdict, Rhinestone. We're just waiting. We're waiting on Muscles to get out of the shower to tell us what happened on Tuesday because she was there. We're waiting on the jury. I don't know what's going to take longer, Muscles in the shower or the jury to come in. I didn't think about that. Is her husband in the shower with her? You naughty girl. It's Uli's birthday. It's not Valentine's Day. Don't be spoiling that man. I mean, I love Uli too, but I mean, I'm not going to take a shower with Greg to celebrate her birthday. Damn, Muscles. By the way, I think I jinxed Uli because for her birthday, I got her a Kansas City Chiefs t-shirt. I gave it to her early so that way she could wear it for Super Bowl and then, of course, have it for her birthday. Well, who's the fool now considering what happened? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, they're all standing up. Still no sound. Muscles is still in the shower. I'm starting to get nauseous. Man, if that girl would move her hair, I could see Maggie. Girl, scoot over. Uh-huh. I don't know why I'm so nervous. Just watch her face. My understanding is the judge wants to protect the jury's identity at all costs. Good call. Good call. It was hard enough finding a jury and they had to sequester them. Okay, she's crying. It's bad. Yep. She's crying. She isn't hugging. She didn't jump up and say thank you. Tarnia said, good. Cry, bitch. You know, I don't know who in Sullivan County, Tennessee is the voice expert to where if they heard the verdict being read by the jury, they'd be like, oh, I know who that is. I'm going to hunt him down. No. Hey, Juniper. Man, I do wonder if Tommy's there. Because, I mean, some people don't see it this way. I feel bad for him. I really do. Just Wimble says, why no sound? Because they're muting while the jury is talking, and then the judge is going to announce the verdict to us. I don't know if in Tennessee they do sentencing the same day, because sometimes they do in some states. You know, they're prepared, or they wait like a month. Lemon Lime, this confused me too. Since when does the jury read a verdict anyway? I thought the clerk or judge did that. I've seen where the judge gets what the jury wants and they read it, and then they poll the jury. We've seen a bailiff read it out before, and then the jury foreman. So I don't know. Judge will repeat reading a verdict momentarily. Good. Well, she's not happy. The thing is if I had just gotten the information she's gotten, on top of everything else, because I thought it was very odd. I'll just say odd. Back in 2020, she was in jail for lying to the police. They didn't put murder charges on her till like August. But sometime through the summer, it was shown to her and told to her that Hunter has a new girlfriend, baby free. They've been at the lake going jet skiing. And they said she had a total meltdown. Not like a few tears when they came to her and said they found Evelyn. This was a total, oh my God, oh my God. Exactly, Rhonda. Rhonda said she primped and bebopped in there like it's all over. It ain't over, honey. I also wonder how many people have come to visit her since she's been in county. Now she's going to the big girls' jail. Guilty first-degree murder. They have a banner up on Court TV. It says verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. Justice for Evelyn. The silence is deafening. I cannot take my eyes off of her. I think about leaving that beautiful, beautiful little baby home by herself. Ripping off babysitters, selling phones, you name it. Getting her groove on, lying to all these men, lying to her family. Lemon Lime said, I didn't see the whole trial. Did her mom testify? No. And I don't know if she was supposed to testify because they just abruptly stopped the trial yesterday. I was really looking forward to that. But she'd kind of be like having a Billy Joe Howell on the stand. It's a ticking time bomb. You know what I mean? You just don't know how the jury's going to take. Hippie Grandma said there's going to be a sentence today.
Murder. To judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 2, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 3, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 4, a judgment of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child abuse, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 5, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child neglect, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 6, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of tampering with evidence, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 7, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 8, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 9, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 10, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 11, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 12, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 13, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 14, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 15, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 16, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 17, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 19, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of abuse of a corpse, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. And in count 20, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In counts 4 through 20, the jury did not assess a fine, so there'll be no fine assessed in those counts. Now we'll be in recess about 15 minutes.
Thank you. Court stands in recess.
Okay, they said about 15 minutes. I guess they're going to come back in 15 minutes and he's going to read the sentence. Well, let's go through these charges again. Because she was found guilty of a lot of stuff.
Concentration of felony. Peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony. It's a judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 3, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony. It's a judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 4, a judgment of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child abuse. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 5, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child neglect. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 6, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of tampering with evidence. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 7, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 8, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 9, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 10, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 11, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 12, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 13, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 14, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 15, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 16, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 17, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 19, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of abuse of a corpse. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. And in count 20, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances. It's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In counts 4 through 20, the jury did not assess a fine, so there'll be no fine assessed in those counts. Now we'll be in recess about 15 minutes.
Court stands in recess.
I'm thinking it was the medical examiner that put them over the edge, because you have to admit she had a really good testimony. Really good. And the way she broke it down to where people who aren't doctors, they don't know the medical terminology to understand what she was saying. When she said she was alive when she was put in that trash can. I was thinking that too, paper slut. The jury was like, sequester for 3 weeks. Nah, let's get this over with. I want to get back in my bed. So much silence, I can't handle it. Let's take another gander at what the medical examiner said.
6 days since jurors have been in the courtroom weighing the fate of a Sullivan County woman accused of killing her 15-month-old daughter. Evelyn Boswell faces a first-degree murder charge in connection to the death of her daughter, Evelyn. Today, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and FBI took the stand to talk about forensic evidence.
Now, this chick on the screen, she was really good too. Alicia P. said, I don't think the judge will allow for parole. He didn't seem to be having it. Speaking of, is Muscles still in the shower? Girl, I'd hate to pay your water bill.
Were these prints that you obtained clear enough that you could make some sort of analysis or identification?
Yes, they were.
All right. And did you, in fact, make findings in that regard?
Yes, it did.
And what were those?
I was able to identify the fingerprint from the underneath the rim of the trash can to Megan Boswell's number 2 or right index finger.
News Channel 11's Ansley.
All right. That tells you something. Muscles and Mascara, thank you for the super sticker. She said, I'm proud of my area in Sullivan County. Great job, state. Justice for Evelyn has been served. Let me tell you what, listen to all that stuff from the TBI, FBI. Let me tell you what. I was very impressed with the investigation. Very impressed.
Ansley Daniel continues to sit in during the trial along. Ansley, a lot of significant information out there today that both you and Jeff Keeling saw, right?
Yeah, Sarah, you're absolutely right. It was a back and forth day inside of the courtroom here in Blountville for both prosecutors and the defense.
That's right, Ansley. But in the late morning, we saw what appeared to be a blow to the defense. And by the end of the day, we were seeing what looked to be important prosecution witnesses struggling under cross-examination.
Yeah, defense attorney Gene Scott's hopes of creating reasonable doubt around her boyfriend Hunter Wood's potential role in Evelyn's death or disappearance did seem to take a hit when FBI agent Paul Durant reviewed some text communications between Megan Boswell and Wood. A December 27th text from Boswell to Wood appeared that
The texts are what got me. The texts are what got me. I was like, he's not just playing dumb. He didn't just come out and start, waving his hands going, look, I never saw that baby. I never saw that baby. He truly didn't.
it convinced Wood that Evelyn had been sent with her supposed father, Ethan Perry, the first of what appeared to be several examples of Wood being unaware of the truth that Evelyn was already missing.
Ethan and I talked, and he's going to stay home. And then it's followed by, he thinks that what would be best, also because I'm obviously not a very stable parent right now, and Evelyn doesn't want to come home with me.
The day wasn't over, though.
That was such a bizarre statement. It's such a bizarre statement. Evelyn, for one, she already knew that Evelyn was dead. And Evelyn doesn't want to come home with me. Evelyn's a baby. Evelyn can't communicate unless she's hungry or has a wet diaper. That's insane.
Late this afternoon, it was the prosecution that was struggling for a conclusive result when they interviewed two forensic pathologists.
That's right. After Scott succeeded in getting medical examiner Matrina Schmidt to waffle on potential causes of Evelyn's death beyond just homicide, the state brought on Darinka Malushnich to the stand. In a sometimes combative exchange with Scott and under a threat of contempt of court from Judge Jim Goodwin, The doctor was forced to answer yes or no to a crucial question about whether, as the prosecution seems to want to claim, that Evelyn Boswell was alive when she was placed in a trash can.
Ma'am, yes or no, can you say conclusively that this child was alive or dead when it was placed in the blanket in the tinfoil?
The blanket, tinfoil, the trash can, which one? Okay, the answer is no. She could have been murdered a different way.
Thank you.
That was pretty clear to me. That was pretty clear to me.
You, doctor.
That came at the end of a long, tense day.
Yeah, it was kind of like a mic drop in the courtroom almost at that moment. You kind of could see where Gene Scott knew that he was doing his job and doing it well.
That's right, but it was a kind of a mic drop filled day, and it's really difficult to determine what might be going on in jurors' heads at this point because they've seen a lot of not very convincing evidence from both sides, so I don't know how they're going to come out on this.
Yeah, and as we look at these jurors, you can kind of tell that this is all weighing on them. Some of them, they do look tired, they do look exhausted. I mean, they've been, going over, not all of this information and, having to go home at night and think about all of this. So we'll see what happens next. But for now, court is in recess until 9 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, Doobie, what happened? Doobie said she just got home from the hospital. And of course, Muscles is still in the shower. Linda asked if we saw the video where she confessed. Yeah, we've covered the whole trial, girlfriend. This shit is insane. All right, they're coming back in. Is anybody on the fence about what she should be sentenced with? Because, I mean, I'm just hoping it's life with no possibility. She won't get death. It's not even on the table. Uh-oh. Rhinestone said, I've seen a couple bad channels blaming Monkey's parents, mostly dad, and I just can't watch them. I don't agree with that. No. That's what our show about Michael's going to be about. I need to get with Kat because we had it planned for this morning. Didn't know that the verdict was going to come back so fast. You know what I mean? And well, the verdict's live. Yeah, you don't want to miss the next Monkey show. So yeah, I'm hoping throw away the key. That's what I'm looking for.
Collecting evidence as they try to find what led to the death of little Evelyn Boswell. After a 2-week Amber Alert search, authorities said that they found what they believed to be the remains of the 15-month-old on property along Muddy Creek Road in Sullivan County. Sheriff Jeff Cassidy said the land was owned by a relative of Evelyn's mother, Megan Boswell. No other information has been released about how the little girl died, and no one has been charged in connection to her death.
But now we know. Now we know what happened to her. I sound like a broken record because I say it all the time. But I'm like, it's worse than I ever thought. Every time we get through these trials and they start laying it all out, I'm like, wow. There's no way I could have even imagined that. Screaming inside, probably tomorrow morning. I need to get with Kat because she's doing the show with me. I apologize, but don't worry, it will happen.
Directly related to her death. Today, a judge did increase Megan Boswell's bond from $25,000 to $150,000. And a TBI agent testified today. Megan made incriminating statements when interviewed by investigators. She is charged with providing false statements, and her case now moves to a grand jury. Meanwhile, a memorial near where the child's body was found on Muddy Creek Road is growing.
That was crazy when I saw that going on. Oh my gosh. There were teddy bears, flowers, balloons, Barbie dolls, you name it. It was an impressive memorial. I think she's touched everyone's hearts.
For little Evelyn, as people from really around the Tri-Cities, the state, even around the country, mourn her loss. Ainsley Daniel is live outside the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department, where a memorial is growing there as well. Ainsley?
Tonight, here outside the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department, people continue to leave tokens of grief for baby Evelyn at this makeshift memorial. But inside, investigators tell us they're combing through every piece of evidence on a timeline that stands back about 3 months. In a press conference,
V. Oakley said, "What in the world do they do with all that stuff after it's done?" If my memory serves me correct, like unopened toys, stuff like that, were donated. And of course the balloons are just going to go away. But a lot of it's donated.
Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy said the last credible sighting of 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell was December 10th or 11th by a babysitter. The Amber Alert reported that Evelyn was last seen on December 26th. On February 18th, Child Protective Services calls the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department. Contact was also made with Megan, where she said she was supposed to pick Evelyn up from a visit with her father, Ethan Perry, that afternoon. The next day, February 19th, the Sheriff's Office sends a missing child notification and the Amber Alert was issued.
Rhinestone Cowgirl said, "Did they ever say who Evelyn's dad was?" In the beginning of this case, there was a lot of speculation that it's a guy named Eric Smith. Pretty common name. Very common name. I didn't think anything of it because I just thought she looks just like Ethan. But no, in court, they didn't say anything about it.
2 days later, on the 21st, Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy holds a press conference on the Amber Alert and issues a BOLO for a gray BMW with Tennessee tags. That evening, Evelyn's grandmother, Angela Boswell, and her boyfriend, William McLeod, were arrested in Wilkes County, North Carolina, on a stolen property charge for that car. The following Monday, the 24th, Angela Boswell and William McLeod appear in court in North Carolina. Angela was extradited back to Tennessee that evening. Tuesday, February 25th, just 1 week after her daughter was reported missing, Megan Boswell was arrested on one charge of giving false reports.
Miss Incognito said, "Why didn't her mother testify?" I was really shocked about that myself, because her name was brought up over and over and over and over and over. Megan was always blaming her mom for something. Even when her dad pinned her down in the interrogation room and said, "Your mom does not have Evelyn, never had Evelyn."
Following day, a pawn search in connection to the case was conducted on the same road where McLeod and Angela Boswell were arrested. On Friday, February 28th, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office and TBI search a Blunteville property belonging to Evelyn's uncle. That night, Angela Boswell bonded out of the Sullivan County Jail and refused to comment on her granddaughter's disappearance.
Yep, that would have done it right there because they would have brought that up. They would have said, you didn't even comment on your granddaughter's disappearance. You didn't help try to find her or nothing. What is going on? V. Oakley said she probably wasn't credible. I think she'd be really credible if they could get her all cleaned up enough to go. I bet she's steaming mad too.
March 3rd, Angela Boswell and William McLeod appear in criminal court in Blountville. That evening, William McLeod bonded out of jail. March 5th, TBI spokesperson Leslie Earhart tells News Channel 11,
"We aren't any closer to determining where Evelyn is at this point."
The following night, March 6th, remains believed to be those of Evelyn Boswell are found on a Muddy Creek Road property owned by Megan's father.
During the search, investigators discovered human remains believed to be those of a 15-month-old girl.
Immediately, memorials begin near where the body was found and at the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department. Monday, March 9th, Megan Boswell appears in court.
Did Ms. Boswell make any culpatory statements with regard to the death of Evelyn Boswell?
You say culpatory or?
Okay.
I don't think it's.
They're back in. I don't know what he said.
Mr. Scott, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
We need to bring the defendant in.
If we're prepared for 2 witnesses right now. We have a witness still on the way. She's not far away, hopefully.
Well, the state will go first, and then
I don't think that's gonna help much.
Draw it out.
Well, I wonder who's on the way. He says witnesses. I'm assuming it's victim impact statements. Thank you for Sophia for gifting a Crime Lines and Laws membership. You guys got a Crime Lines and Laws membership today. You need to be thanking our friend Sophia. So who do you think they're waiting on to show up and give an impact statement? In a way, I hope it's not Tommy because he's been through enough. He has been through enough. Watch it be Angela's ass. That man's been through enough.
Yeah, well, yeah, we talked about that.
all right. If the jury is ready, we'll bring him in.
We approached. Everyone stand, please.
I gave it to you yesterday.
Is it just me, or does Megan still seem to be in denial? Moon Diaries said, good morning. Have they reached a verdict? Yes, she's guilty of everything under the sun she's been accused of, and then some. Now we're waiting on the sentence. The judge is getting ready to give her a sentence.
You may be seated. Thank you.
All right, General.
Judge, stay with introduce it. I'm sorry.
You can do an opening statement if you'd like to.
Okay, no, I stayed with the opening statement.
Do you have an opening?
I do.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, although I may not agree with your verdict, I respect your verdict. I respect you. I thank you for your time. And I have one more thing to ask you. You have to make a decision now, and that decision is it's going to mean the difference. If you sentence Megan Boswell to life in prison, she'll be released when she is probably 69 years old. It'll be 8. She's been in jail. You probably realize she has been in jail since she was 18 years old. She went to jail February the 25th of 2020, and she hasn't been released. So with that said, if you give her a life sentence, it would be 51 years. That's what I'm asking you to do. If you give her a life without sentence, she will never be released from prison. That's the difference. So it'll be the difference between her being released at what I believe would be 69 to 70 years old, or never being released. In doing this process, and Judge Goodwin will read you some very short jury instructions compared to what you heard yesterday. You look at statutory aggravating factors and mitigating factors. In this case, the state will submit the age of the child as the aggravating factor. Our mitigating factors, we've listed several of those. They include no significant criminal history, her youth and age at the time the offense was committed. She was 17 when she had Evelyn. She was 18 when Evelyn died. You'll hear more about her unstable and chaotic home life. You'll hear from her mother, Angela Boswell. She's here today. You'll hear from Angela about domestic violence that Megan witnessed between her parents. You'll hear from Angela about drug use that Megan witnessed her parents engage in. You also hear about her schooling. It wasn't.
Hold on. I need to take a breath. I'm hyperventilating. Angela. I just said a little bit ago, I said, watch it be Angela's ass that shows up. Angela's going to give a statement. And of course, the bitch is late. I mean, her daughter just was handed like 20 felony sentences. And of course, she's not there. Mother of the year, huh? And they need to quit with this Evelyn passed away. That's disrespectful to the jury, and it's disrespectful to Evelyn. You just heard them hand down first-degree murder. That's not passing away.
Seamless. And how one of her primary role models was her grandfather, Tommy Boswell's father. He died when I think she was 11 or 12 years old. You'll hear that. And then finally, you'll hear a little bit about her younger siblings, Elijah and Charlotte. Elijah has a disability that Megan has looked after him and tried to help take care of him. And then you're also feel free to look at any other thing you've heard in the proof and making that decision as far as mitigating factor. Anything else you've heard and all the proof from any of the witnesses. And also, you'll probably hear from Gail Kite. Heard from her once before, but you'll hear a little bit more from her about the shape Megan was in when she came into her home. And you'll hear from, we expect to call Mary Boswell. She is Megan's grandmother. I think most of you recognize the name Mommy at this point. You'll hear from her and what she witnessed and her participation in raising Megan. So it's a hard decision. It's not a light decision. You made a hard decision already. And it's my hope that after you see this, you will come to the conclusion that maybe at 69 years old, it would be fair for her to be released from prison.
All right. General, proof.
Yes, Judge. This time the state will produce a copy of birth certificate of Evelyn Boswell.
All right. That'll be exhibit 262. I'm going to keep the exhibits in sequential numbers, but I've started a new sheet for the sentencing part. It'll be exhibit 262. Any other proof, Joe?
No, Judge. That's the state address.
All right. Mr. Scott.
Here's we call Angel Boswell. Angel Boswell.
Dear, dear Lord, I cannot believe this. This better be the impact of Evelyn's death, not another family therapy session like Lazy's family did.
Raise your right hand, man. State your name for me.
Angela Boswell.
You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and but the truth, man. Have a seat. If you'll pull the microphone down and talk straight into that microphone. Actually, you know what? I need to switch these. Off topic, but I wonder if the bailiff is the court reporter's son, the stenographer, because they have the same snazzy expressions. The eye rolling, the crook of the neck with the eye going. Thank
Ready to go, Judge? Right. Ma'am, state your name for the record.
Angela Boswell.
You are Megan Boswell's mother.
I am.
Ms. Boswell, you know the purpose of being here today.
I do.
I want to ask you some about Megan's home life and growing up, but I guess I want to ask you first a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And I'm asking you these questions, Ms. Boswell. I'm not trying to embarrass you or
No,
cast any
no, sir.
aspersions.
No.
You married Tommy Boswell when you were how old?
First time 15.
You speak into that microphone just a little more, please.
The first time 15.
And when did you become pregnant with your first child with him?
I had my first in April and turned 16 in July. So,
Okay, and who was that child?
Tommy Jr.
Okay. And then you had Megan at some point. How old were you when you had Megan?
There's 8 years difference. I was almost 24.
It's okay. So let's talk about Megan's life growing up. Would it be fair to say that during her lifetime, she's witnessed drug use between you and her father?
Yes.
What type of drugs?
Opiates, mainly.
Scoot up and speak into that so the jury can hear you.
Opiates, mainly.
Did that drug use lead to other problems?
Yeah. Arguments, fighting, yes.
Okay. You say there
Strife.
Strife.
Is what it brings, yes. Nonstop.
Is that something that went on pretty much her entire childhood
Yeah.
growing up?
Yeah, from the time she was pretty little, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Good. Now, did she witness fights between you and her father?
Yes.
Okay. I think at some point her father was convicted of aggravated assault and kidnapping.
Yes.
Were you the victim in that?
Yes. Mm.
Do you remember ever taking Megan to any NAAA meetings with you?
Yes, I did.
How old was she when you did that?
She was probably about 7 or 8. First ones I started taking her to. 7 or 8, 8 or 9, somewhere around in there.
Now due to the strife in your home, was she raised by her grandparents to some degree?
Yes.
Okay. What were their names?
Mary and Danny Boswell.
Okay. Mary Boswell, would that be who's known as a mommy?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
These problems, do you feel that it's partly your fault, the problems Megan's experienced?
No, absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Now, unfortunately, your problems, that they went on up into, we saw a video in here, you being brought down from the jail to talk with her in 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So even up until the time she went to jail, you were in and out of jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I've been.
Have you been convicted of numerous crimes?
Yes.
Now, have you managed to straighten up at this point?
I have, yes.
You hoping to?
Yes. I pray every day and just, to do my best and try. I've learned the importance of a mother's role, but not for Megan, I didn't.
All right.
I failed her on that miserably.
And you're here asking the jury to give her a sentence of life as opposed to life without.
It's Maggie is at her core. She is a generous, kind person. And through all Maggie's went through, Maggie still has potential. She was trying so hard. She didn't repeat my mistakes. Maggie learned from my mistakes. And she was trying to do better with Eve. She wasn't repeating. I think she got saddled with, and just because of my mistakes that she did. That was not it. That was not the case with Evelyn.
Would it be fair to say she didn't have a good role model for the mother should
No,
be?
no, she did not.
Answer any of Ms. Massengill or Mr. Harper's questions.
I don't have any questions, Judge.
What about Evelyn? This is the kind of shit we had to hear in the sentencing, the statements before they sentenced Leilani. And it was all about, I should have done better. I should have done better. I should have done better. I should have been emotionally there for you, Leilani. And then here's Angela Boswell saying that because she was, she wasn't June Cleaver, then, this is what led to what Megan did. What about Evelyn? I didn't hear one thing about Evelyn. Nothing.
Judge, at this time, I have some judgments of conviction on Tommy Boswell. I'd like to put in by agreement with Mr. Harper.
No objection, Judge.
Okay. I'd ask these to be made the next 4 exhibits.
Mr. Scott, I'm going to enter the case number 61078 as exhibit 263. And the other 3 pages are 3 counts of the same case. So I'll make that a collective 264.
What is that case number, Your Honor?
62497. Yeah, the first case is 263, case 61078, and case 62497. Those 3 pages, 264.
Your Honor, defense would call Gail Kite.
Kite. K-Y-T-E, right?
I believe so, Your Honor. I'll have her spell it. I think she was a witness in the trial, but I'll go back to that.
Raise your right hand. State your name, please.
Gail Kite.
Ms. Kite, you solemnly swear from the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ma'am?
I do.
Absolutely. Speaking of that microphone.
Ms. Kite, good morning.
Good morning.
Just so I make sure here, spelling your last name, is it K-Y-T-E?
It is.
And Ms. Kite, you've previously testified in this hearing as the state's witness. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, thank you for coming back for this part of it. I know Ms. Boswell appreciates that. How long have you been working in foster care?
15 years.
Do you remember when Megan Boswell came to you?
I do.
Do you recall what kind of shape she was in or state?
She was in bad shape. She was one of the worst
children that I'd brought in as far as neglect.
What do you mean by that?
She was very malnourished. She's very skinny. Her hair was matted to her head with lice. Impossible to even get a comb through.
Okay. Well, when she came to you, were you given any background? I imagine in foster care, you're given background or information of where this child is coming from. Were you giving any of that?
I was.
And what were you preparing for?
In the intake papers, it mentioned trauma. It mentioned rape.
Did it give you any background or any information about her family background or makeup?
Not really.
Okay. Now, you said she came to you with lice. What did you do to try to help Megan?
Well, I took her to a beauty shop because there was no way to even begin to get a comb through. It was horrible. The beauty shop wouldn't touch it. They told me I offered to pay him $100 to go out back to cut her hair. And they said that they couldn't do it. Finally, the agency that we were with found a beautician that met me at a church that was willing to come in and give Megan a haircut. They gave her a bob, which looked really cute on her. But even after that we could get a comb through, it took close to 3 weeks, maybe a month to get rid of the lice. Were just so bad. I had to get prescription medicine from the doctor. We got 2 bottles of that. I bought the comb that you run through that's supposed to kill the lice. And I know I practically traumatized.
Okay, this lady is sweet as can be. I will say she's super sweet. She seems to be a sweet lady. But at 17, Megan knew how to run a comb through her hair. She knew if she had creepy crawlies on her scalp to tell old Tommy, hey, while you're out, get me this shampoo or take me to the doctor. She knows how to brush her own damn hair.
Ties the poor child because we'd go out on the porch and I'd run that comb through trying to make sure we got all the lice, and she'd sit there and tears would run down her hair. She got tired of me. It wasn't a pleasant situation. And then even when you do that, you still got to go through, you've got to thoroughly clean the bedding. Everything in the room has to be taken down, washed in hot water. But it was a rough time for her, very rough.
And you may have said, but she came to you how old?
She was 17 years old.
She was pregnant.
17, pregnant, scared, didn't have a place to go.
And you believe that she had been raped or violently sexually assaulted. Were you given any background or information about her family, her mom and her dad?
I knew Mom was in and out of jail, and I knew her daddy owned a business.
Okay. Were you able to come to the opinion that she essentially came from a dysfunctional family?
I did.
Okay. And how long did she stay with you?
She stayed 4 months. When she came in, we got to work, got rid of the lice, got her registered for school. Where she was pregnant, she chose to do online schooling. She worked really hard getting her diploma. If a test didn't go right, she was on the phone the next day with the counselor getting it reset. I never had any problems trying to get her to do her schoolwork or anything. She hung with it.
she ever cause you any problems, disciplinary wise or anything like that?
No,
Never?
no.
And did she seem to be thriving in a structured environment?
She did. She did.
Was she making friends?
She did.
Did she seem to be progressing and coming out of the state she was in when she came to you?
She very much so.
And she was with you for 4 months. Did you form a bond with her?
Oh, I did. We took up together immediately. It was during the winter. She learned me how to play card games. Winter days, we'd sit there and we'd play. Baby'd sleep, we'd play cards. But we formed a bond.
Did you take her to doctor's appointments?
I did.
How did she seem to feel about becoming a mother?
She was very excited.
Did you have conversations with her about that?
I did.
Did she seem to fully understand her roles and responsibilities of what was going to be required of her?
She did. Megan practically raised her younger sister Charlotte and her brother Elijah. She had plenty of experience with younger children.
How did you know that?
Well, mostly from conversations with Megan, and I could tell by the way she took care of Evelyn at the house. You know, she knew how to heat a bottle. She knew how to change the diapers. She got up when the baby cried.
Did you ever have to tell her to do those things?
No. Me and my husband never once woke up those 4 months when Evelyn woke up in the middle of the night. Megan would take care of her very well.
And I asked you, and I want to clarify that, if you ever took her to doctor's appointments, she was with you when she was with you. She came to you pregnant. Did you go to the prenatal appointments?
I did.
And did you go to follow-up appointments with Evelyn's pediatrician?
I did.
Okay. So you were involved through the whole process, really?
Those 4 months, yes.
Okay. At some point in time, was Megan taken from your home and placed back somewhere else?
She done trial visits to go back to Tommy's.
Okay.
There was a process in the foster care system.
I understand.
She done weekend visits, or at first it was just visits, and then it led to weekend visits.
How did she feel about that?
She seemed okay with it.
Eventually, was Megan placed back in the custody and care of her family?
She was. She went back to Tommy's house.
Tommy, you mean her father?
Yes,
Okay. And did you maintain contact with her?
I did.
How often?
We texted back and forth it wasn't a daily time, but I want to say once a month, couple times sometimes couple times a week. It's just according to what was going on and what pictures she had took of Evelyn.
When you were talking to her, did you eventually learn that maybe things were kind of getting back off the tracks again?
I did. In April, I received a call from her foster care worker saying that Megan had been needed some help, and even though she was out of the foster care system, would I be willing to go and help her out? And I said, no problem. So I called Megan. She told me that her mother had dropped her off at a church. She had drove off and left her and Evelyn there. She had took Evelyn's diaper bag, the baby's supplies. So I told her I'd be right there. I went and picked her up. We went to Walmart, bought baby bottles, formula, diapers, the stuff that a baby would need.
Where did you take her?
We went back to my home. She spent the night. Her and Evelyn they took showers, a good night's sleep. But then the next morning, she wanted to go back to her mother's family's home.
Where's that at?
Now, I'm not sure. The place that I took, her grandfather was in the hospital, and she wanted to go there to meet up with her family. So when she left my home, I drove her to the hospital in Kingsport, and she assured me that she would be perfectly fine, and her and Evelyn got out.
It'd be fair to say that Megan wasn't getting maybe the familial support from her parents that she was needing at that time.
Yes.
I imagine over this time, Ms. Kite, that did you ever meet Tommy Boswell Sr. or her mother, Angela?
I had never met Angela, but I'd met Tommy several times.
You said you agreed that she probably come from a dysfunctional family. Let me ask you this. She lived with you for 4 months and you stayed in contact with her after she moved out. It's your opinion, you know her, you talked to her. You think Megan ever knew what a normal family looked like?
No. No.
Did she crave that?
I think so.
Was she wanting that for Evelyn?
I think so.
Well, it's obvious why we're here today. You know why you're testifying. Are you asking this jury to just give her life?
I am, with the possibility of parole. This child has been traumatized. She's made bad mistakes that has to be paid for. But I think she deserves a chance to come back out to the real world. I don't think she's irredeemable. I think she can become a functioning citizen.
Ms. Scott, I thank you again. If you would answer any questions that the state has for you.
Nothing from the state judge.
Judge, we call Mary Boswell.
Deja vu all over again. You know, she can't, this woman seems very sweet, don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm not pounding on the foster mama. Okay, so she makes this incredible bond over lice and bad hygiene in a 4-month period. All right, Angela kicks her daughter out, drops her off at a church. She goes and gets her. In all of that going on, what makes you think she can function in society after what she's done? Besides being a pathological liar, she's a sociopath. She knows how to use people. She knows how to manipulate. She'll do whatever she needs to do to get her way.
Raise your right hand, man. State your name for me.
Mary Boswell.
Ms. Boswell, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
If you have to right there and speak in that mouth.
Okay.
Ms. Boswell,
Mhm.
I'm Gene Scott. How are you?
Pretty good.
We're here today because the jury's trying to decide how long Megan will have to stay in prison. I want you to, I guess, your name is Mary Boswell.
Not Mary Boswell.
Okay. How do you know Megan?
Sir,
How do you know Megan?
she's my granddaughter.
Okay. Are you Tommy Boswell's mother?
Yes, sir.
And obviously you've known Megan her whole life.
All of her life, I started keeping her from the time she was 2 months old till she was grown, off and on, not all the time, but off and on.
Why was that in part because of problems between your son and her mother, Angela?
Sir,
Was that because her parents were having
no,
problems?
she just loved me and her papa, and she stayed with us, and we loved her, and so we keep her a lot.
Were you aware of the violence issues between Tommy and Angela?
No, I didn't live in their home or nothing. I don't know nothing about what went on in their home, sir.
Okay.
We'd pick her up and keep her until she want to go back and like that, off and on.
And have you always lived down there on the same property Tommy lives on? Or?
I've never lived there for maybe 20 years, 21 or 2 or something like that.
She lived there almost all Megan's life.
Yeah, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
And you're aware, you told me, I think one of Megan's role models was your husband, your late husband.
Sir.
Your late husband, he was one of Megan's role models?
Yes, we loved her like she belonged to us.
Okay. When did he pass, man?
11 and a half years ago. Soon be 12 this summer.
So that would have been when Megan was, I guess, what?
Yeah, maybe 12 years old or
12
something.
years old?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that take an impact on her?
Yes, it did.
And are you here asking this jury for leniency today?
Yes, sir, I am.
Asking them not to give her a sentence of life without parole?
I hope they don't, sir. I love her like I hope they don't give her the sentence like that. I'd love to give her my home if I could take her home today. That's how much I love her.
I understand. Thank you, Ms. Boswell. Answer any Mr. Harper or Ms. Massey.
No questions, sir.
Ms. Boswell, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm ready.
Thank you for going down there.
Well, not gonna lie, Grandma broke my heart. But old Pawpaw passing away 11 years ago isn't what made Megan what she is now. No way. Tommy and Angela doing drugs and beating the hell out of each other. That's not what made her this way. Ding, ding, ding. Toodles, thank you. Just when I'm giving credit to Granny. If you love her so much, then why the hell did she even have to go to foster care? Why'd she have matted up hair with lice in it? Advocate for Evelyn. Why would you send Megan to foster care at 17 when her grandma's right there on the property? I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you go with the officer for just a minute. It won't take long.
Everyone stand, please. You may be seated. Thank you. Can I approach? Megan, we've talked about this before. You understand you have a right not to testify.
Yes.
No one could force you to testify.
Yes.
We'll start this over since we didn't have the microphone up. Megan, you understand you have a right not to testify, and if you don't testify, the jury may not draw any inferences from that failure to testify. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Likewise, you have a right to testify. No one could keep you from testifying if you wanted to.
Yes.
After consulting with me, Mr. Horn, and talking about your case and hearing what's happened here in court and all the evidence, do you wish to testify or not?
No,
You do not wish to testify?
I do not wish to testify.
And Ms. Boswell, you're still under oath from yesterday or the day before. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other proof? And before we bring the jury in, one thing that I forgot to do yesterday was when we excused the alternates, I took the contents of one of their books and the cover page, and I gave that to the court reporter, and that would be designated as Exhibit A, the letter A, for identification only, so that it's part of the record as to what those notebooks were that they took back. All right.
Blue Sheet said technical difficulties. They're just having a sidebar before they give her sentence. And she doesn't seem to be concerned. She's got to be sweating bullets. She's got to be. Okay, now they're having technical difficulties. Let's see if someone else get it. Well, there's an issue over at Law and Crime, too. What's the local station? I forgot. What is it? WCYB? Something like that? That's WJHL, WBIR. Okay, and they got issues too. All right. Boo Sheets on channel 11. Yeah, I need the call numbers. I just can't put in channel 11. I don't live there, so I don't know the call letters. WJHL doesn't have it. WCYB doesn't have it. So we'll figure out how long it's going to take for them to get their sheet together, and we'll go back through this because we were almost done anyway.
Where Evelyn is at this point.
The following night, March 6th, remains believed to be those of Evelyn Boswell are found on a Muddy Creek Road property owned by Megan's father.
During the search, investigators discovered human remains believed to be those of a 15-month-old girl.
Immediately, memorials begin near where the body was found and at the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department. Monday, March 9th, Megan Boswell appears in court.
Did Ms. Boswell make any culpatory statements with regard to the death of Evelyn Boswell?
You say culpatory or? Yes.
That agent also described the clothing on the body found.
The clothing.
What kind of damn alphabet game is Cat putting in here? The hell? WKJC, BJWH. I thought that said BJ. What the hell? Where are you getting all these letters, Cat?
With the prior interview of Ms. Boswell, clothing described in that interview was exact clothing that was found on this child.
Over the weekend, I spoke with Megan's attorney, Brad Sproles, who says his client was obviously upset when he told her the news that they believed they had found Megan. However, today in court, he told our team that he was unable to give any comment on the case until he has more information. In Blountville, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
You'll find complete coverage.
Horrible. And unlike Summer Wells, who's also in East Tennessee, the reward that they had out for Evelyn just went back to the people after they found Evelyn. That's what happened. All right, they're fixing their microphones. Every news station I look at, it's frozen. I don't know what the hell. Did lightning strike the courthouse? I don't know. Is Muscle still in the shower? She's like a size 0, 100 pounds. It can't take her that long to wash all that. Now me, it could take a good 30 minutes to get all sudsy. This family issue thing was really hacking me off. Really hacking me off. Ooh, yummy Nufflin. Rhonda said, we're waiting on the jury again, right? It seems like everyone's having technical difficulties. So we have the verdict. She's guilty about everything. Everything. I mean, everything. So we're just waiting on the sentencing. Muscles is loading snakes now. Okay. I don't want to say about that.
News Channel 11, a mother accused of murdering her 15-month-old daughter.
She didn't deserve this. No child does. And that's why we will continue to work to pursue justice in this case.
Over the next half hour, we take a look back on the Amber Alert and search for Evelyn Boswell,
This case is unlike anything I've ever been involved in.
detailing the time Megan Boswell has spent in court in the 5 years since her arrest.
I want a fair jury. I want a jury that's going to listen to the facts and not be influenced on what they've heard.
And expert analysis on what to expect when her trial begins on Monday. This special edition of News Channel.
We've had the trial. Any thoughts on Evelyn being the product of grape from Megan's foster mother's testimony? Can you believe Megan? I mean, can you? She had Ethan convinced he was the daddy. Karma said, can they get a mistrial if the jury was shown? I don't know, considering they've already read the verdict. I don't know about that.
11 at 5:30 starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this News Channel 11 special report. Next week, the long-awaited trial of Megan Boswell for the murder of her daughter, Evelyn Boswell. Evelyn was at the center of an Amber Alert that caught the attention of Northeast Tennessee and beyond. The trial is set to begin next Monday, February 3rd, and is expected to last anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. News Channel 11 plans to have team coverage daily from the courthouse. Megan Boswell has been in the Sullivan County Jail.
I don't know that we're going to hear her sentence. We may have to read about it. Reason being is it's court TV that showed the jury. Now, this has been a thing with the judge since day one. He was even very adamant this morning that he didn't even want the jurors' voices to be out there. So the sentencing, we'll see in a couple seconds, might be something we got to read about. What a dumb mistake. The judge cut all the feed, all of it.
Jail since her arrest in 2020, making dozens of court appearances over the course of 5 years. Over the next half hour, we're going to take a close look into Evelyn's disappearance, the discovery of her body, her mother's charges, what to expect in court, and how her death changed Tennessee forever. Little is known about the victim in this case, then 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell. During the Amber Alert and search for Evelyn in 2020, I spoke with her mother, Megan Boswell, on what her daughter was like.
She's very sweet. She loves everybody.
This picture of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed toddler captured the hearts of people across the region and beyond.
She's just a really good-hearted baby in general.
Evelyn was born on November 18th, 2018, to then-teens Megan Boswell and Ethan Perry.
I love her. I know she loves me. She's only been around him a couple times because when I was in the Army.
Like most toddlers, her mother told us Evelyn loved Baby Shark.
And as we know now, Ethan's not the baby's daddy, not Evelyn's daddy. Pat Kay said, Brooks, the lady with the hair was taking photos on her phone. I thought that was a no-no as well. Good point. Good point. But when you have a judge like this, you don't send an amateur cameraman down to stream the trial.
And had just started walking.
She started walking probably around like 10 months. She was a preemie when she was born. She's like a smaller baby and she kind of had trouble like balancing her weight, but she finally got the hold of it. She's starting to say a lot of words.
However, watching Evelyn hit those milestones came to a halt in late 2019, the last time some of her family members saw her alive.
My granddaughter, she's never.
Hold on, it says they're back, but Megan has on different clothes. Oh, hell, that's day 2. Oh, come on.
Never did come back. Now I just don't know what happened to her.
To understand this case and what to expect in court, we want to take you back to 2020, where it all started. On February 18th of that year, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office says they received a referral from the Tennessee Department of Children's Services about a child that hadn't been seen by some family members in about 2 months. That child was Evelyn Boswell. The next day, just before 8 in the evening, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issued an Amber Alert for 15-month-old Evelyn.
We've had a child that's not been seen by the parents or certain family members in almost 2 months and was just reported this week. Evelyn was last seen in December. As you all know, these cases are already time sensitive, and we urge anyone with any information to come forward.
On February 21st, several rewards were announced for information that would help the investigation into the toddler's disappearance. More details were also given out about what folks should look out for in regards to the Amber Alert. Then on the 24th, Megan Boswell.
Muscles, there's the link.
Well, Evelyn's mother spoke with me for a News Channel 11 report.
Maybe they won't find her tonight, or, maybe they don't find her tomorrow. Maybe it's weeks from now before they find her.
On the 25th, Megan Boswell was arrested after police say that she gave false reports during the course of the investigation and search for her daughter. More than a week passes as the search continues. That includes a sweep of a North Carolina pond near a property owned by a family member connected to the case, and the search of a property in Sullivan County where investigators looked into recently dug up ground there. Then on March the 6th, the search for Evelyn Boswell ended when her remains were found on a property on Muddy Creek Road in Sullivan County, owned by Megan Boswell's father, the man who initially called DCS about her disappearance. It would be several more months after that before Megan Boswell would be charged with multiple counts of felony murder of Evelyn. So let's take a closer look into the life of the woman who now faces 20 charges.
Okay, Court TV and the others are ending their stream. I agree with Chrissy. Somebody got 10 days in jail because that judge wasn't having it. Oh, there she is. Hello, Muscles. How was that shower?
It was good.
We were all very flattered. So now what happened on Tuesday? Did you go to court?
I did. I went to sit in.
Did you see anybody familiar?
A couple people. I kind of hung out and kept myself a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were muted for a second. What'd you say?
Oh, okay. I said I kind of kept myself incognito a little bit. So.
I don't blame
But
you.
I did see a couple people. Mm-hmm.
Was Tommy Boswell there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. I saw him for a little bit, not for long. So I don't know if it was me or him that was running from people or not, but yeah, I tried to stay kind of in the bushes, if you know what I mean. So.
Oh, I don't blame you at all.
Yeah.
Did you kind of vibe for Megan at all when you were at court?
Yeah, just the monster that she looks like online. So it's no different, except I just, had to sit on my own hands. You know what I mean? Just, just disgusting. But that was the medical examiner. Was that Tuesday or, let's see. No. Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh my God.
The medical examiner was Wednesday.
That was Wednesday. Lord have mercy. My days are all, you can tell I've not been doing nothing but working, Brooks.
Pat wants to know, was the courtroom packed?
Yes. That was yes. Was that today's Thursday, right? I'm all screwed up because we're leaving to go out of town today. We usually don't leave till Friday. So I'm all screwed up. Yes. So yes. Standing room only for a while.
Okay, so yeah, Tuesday was the medical examiner. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever day it was. That's when I was there. I tried to hit that just right, so yeah, it was rough.
I couldn't imagine hearing
Yeah.
that being in there.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. It was rough. But I wanted to go and do more, you know what I mean? I wanted to go for all of it, It's just, you don't ever know what to do in those situations.
I'm just really perplexed by these statements that are given. It's like Leilani 2.0 when they're she can
Not
be
been a soul.
and everything. I'm like, no.
Not been a soul to say her name yet when all of them have come in there, and it's really disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Really disappointing.
Well, it looks like the judge isn't going to let him stream anymore. So, way to go. Y'all fucked that up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I had seen a couple of different reports saying that he had cut the feed because of I guess the jury being shown or whatever. So I was like, well, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. I mean, at least turn the audio on. But
yeah, do something.
Yeah, something.
But that's awesome. You went to the courtroom. I didn't know you were going. I had no idea.
Yeah, I was gonna go, and I planned to go to a lot, but it didn't work out with my schedule, and trying to juggle everything, it just didn't work out quite right, and I didn't really know when to go because I could never find the witness list. I searched and searched and searched for that, so I could try to figure out like what I thought might be next. But were you all as surprised as I was that they arrested as fast as they did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I was too.
I mean, I love when they arrested Megan just for lying to. And I know people.
No, rested yesterday when they rested so fast. Was you expecting that?
Oh no, gosh,
I
no.
wasn't either. That surprised me. I was worried really bad.
And really what they, each side was concerned about didn't seem to matter. It seemed like the jury had heard enough.
Well, it did certainly sound that way for sure.
Yeah.
You're right.
It does make me wonder about the rest of the evidence they were going to produce because, I mean, it was supposed to go on for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I am too. I'm super interested in that, and I want to know, like, was that their plan all along, or did they think the medical examiner laid the bomb and that was enough? Or I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird how it all played out, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So, but thank goodness it came back in the way that it should have. So,
100%.
I mean, I don't know how you not. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a whole lot of gray area, I didn't think, honestly. But then you start thinking, well, did they put a little bit of doubt because y'all thought Casey Anthony would be too, and it didn't happen that way. So
he was planting the doubt all about Hunter, but when the FBI showed those texts between Hunter and Megan, it was obviously bullshit.
Yeah, that was a big moment, I thought. When they did show the text messages, I thought that was one of the bigger moments. Basically, sorry, I've got runny nose this morning.
Yeah, I'm battling that too. Yeah, it just drives me crazy. And let me tell you what, I feel like a real heel because, I mean, I've ran my mouth about, Hunter for years thinking he has to know more. He has to know more. And I'm reading these texts and I'm like, okay, for one, he spoiled little rich boy. I get it. And he comes off as very cocky.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody has any right to even question me. But I see these texts and I'm like, oh, he had no idea.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for him too. He's probably had been battling something prior to, but then being accused of that, and look, it's a small town around here too. Even though we're not right on top of each other necessarily, but Sullivan County's 10 minutes down the road. You know what I mean? And I'm in Sullivan County, and it's a small town, so we all know how those sometimes work, and everybody's hounding you over different things, and sometimes it's just maybe more than somebody can take too, which, I mean, being called a baby killer is nothing to take lightly. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. And I mean, him being involuntarily committed and everything, I don't know what he got in trouble for when he was in Virginia. And then from there, he goes to this hospital and I'm just like, all right, I'm kind of getting it now. It seemed sus in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And sorry, I said Killer. I didn't mean to do that out loud.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, it's a sad situation. I know exactly where that hospital is that he's in. And, phew, that one's intense for sure. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate that, but I'm glad he's also getting help if that's what he needs. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Well, just knowing what he was around.
well, that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. All this, he probably needs, even more so now.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of other people that, she literally, when somebody, I think it was the prosecution talking about Megan's victims and getting into her web. That was a perfect analogy because it's so true. She has hurt so many people through this. It's ridiculous, and just really victimized a lot of people. And it's really sad that situation. She just ripped the whole entire family apart.
I mean, her family, the foster
Her
mother,
friends, yeah,
her friends, Hunter and his family, Ethan and his family. I mean, it was one person after another. And I'm like, at what point did she not realize that she can't keep this up? And the sad thing is one day she's going to mature. The light bulb's going to come off when she's in jail, and she's going to realize what a piece of shit she was.
Well, that can't come fast enough for me. And I would love to just visit her and tell her what a piece of shit she is. I'd be glad to.
Mm-hmm.
You are an absolute monster to do something like this to this child. To do something like this to anyone, period. But you do that to your own child. I mean, you're a monster. There's no other definition for you. I'm sorry.
Oh, absolutely none. And I don't, unlike some people, I don't have a squirt of piss for her. I could care less. Just send her away. Throw away the key.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to catch hell for it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I know that people have rough childhoods, and some people's is worse than others, and I get that. But that is no excuse for, if anything, doesn't that make you want to be a better human being because you don't want to be the crap that you grew up with? You know what I mean? And I know some people struggle trying to get there. I get it. And I don't want to take that away from anybody either if you've had a bad childhood. I get it. But somebody's in the chat right now that's had a bad childhood. They haven't turned around and murdered their child and wrapped their heads in tinfoil and blankets and left them in an upside down trash can. In the trash can upside down.
Alive.
It's crazy.
Alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
It's just there's just no excuse for this. There's none. They can try to find all the excuses they want to. There's just not any. There's none. And I'm just really tired of people making excuses for people like this. That's part of our problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody tries to coddle everybody and make it make sense and all this stuff. You can't make that make sense if you have any sense about you at all. That doesn't make sense. None of it ever will. Then it never should.
No, this certainly doesn't make sense. The foster mother saying, she's a great mother to Evelyn. She basically took care of Charlotte and Elijah all on her own. So she knew. If I was Tommy, I'd be like, damn, it's a wonder you didn't kill your siblings.
Well, that's what I want to, and then if that's the case and all that is true and accurate, then what happened? You know what I mean? Other than the fact that you wanted to start a new life, I guess, that's the only other excuse there is. But I mean, I don't understand it.
The only thing that I can think of that happened is Hunter. She liked taking those trips to, Pigeon Forge. She liked taking those trips to Gatlinburg and all that stuff. She was loving it.
Oh, yeah. You know who else loves stuff like that? Children.
Yep, they do.
Yeah. So, fuck you, Megan. Sorry. Yeah, that's, me and my husband were watching it, and I said, well, she has, they were standing there with their aquarium picture or whatever. And I said, yeah, and I guess who else would have liked to enjoy the aquarium? Evelyn, it's just, it's disgusting.
It is.
It's absolutely disgusting. There's just no excuse for it. No excuse in the world for it. It makes me sick. I don't know. This world is gone nuts. And that's the problem. There's never been any discipline probably in her life. I don't know that, but you know what I mean? Like most of the time, these people don't have any kind of accountability for their actions that they do. They raise hell in school and raise hell and do this and that, and there's never any consequences for it. And then they turn adults and they continue to do the same thing. And I don't know why that's a hard concept for people to get, that you don't have to beat your children to make them behave, but you should make them behave. So they don't grow up to be assholes and monsters like Megan.
Yeah. To be that selfish that, she meets Chicken Shack and decides, oh, well, I'm starting work on December 2nd. Looks like I've already got that spider in my web. One thing is in my way, and that would be my daughter, because he's already made it clear he doesn't want anyone else's kids.
Yep.
And people don't, people are getting tired of, being ripped off, by my, me asking for babysitters, which people should have been doing it for free. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma seems pretty spry. Ashley's just across the property. She's at home all day while Tommy's out, laying concrete. Somebody could have watched Evelyn, but instead she leaves that trailer looking like, whoa.
Yeah. No excuse.
Something that the health department probably should just burnt down. She leaves that baby sitting in that swing while she goes and does her Chicken Shack thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When I heard about the diaper rash and it had been oozing,
oh my gosh,
well, that had to have been.
I cannot imagine. And how do you let that happen, for starters? And then if it gets bad enough, I think everybody's probably experienced that when their child had one worse than another. You know what I mean? Like on antibiotics or something silly. Like it happens. But to ooze, like, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it breaks my heart. And I just sat and cried listening to this stuff that I heard, and I cried when they read the verdict. Like, it's like, thank God, because I was so nervous about it, how fast it all ended, and it scared me. I was like, we can't go through this again. I mean, I was afraid of what our community may do. I'll just be honest. Like, I didn't know how they were going to handle it if it came the other direction at all. Because there's a lot of people out there that, this has been, my Facebook feed has been nothing but this trial and people's opinions of it and stuff. People that I didn't even know paid attention to this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's a big deal here for sure.
Well, I bet it is. Okay. Yeah. WCYB, they have the screen. Give me a second.
Oh, okay.
Wow, it looks totally different.
Gosh, it does. Wow. Huh. You reckon they did that to avoid accidentally showing the jury again? Because it looks like they've put them somewhere where it's almost impossible for them to do it.
Yeah, they had to move. Looks like it.
Yeah. I'm surprised he turned it back on, really.
I am too.
He certainly doesn't F around, that's for sure.
Okay, we can hear better on this one.
She doesn't. Neither does Megan. We are going to ask that you continue to hold her accountable. The state has proven the aggravating factor that Evelyn was under the age of 12 years old and that the defendant was over the age of 18. We have proven that. And that is all the state has to prove. And if you believe that the state has proven that beyond a reasonable doubt, we're going to ask that you return a verdict of life without the possibility of parole.
Thank you, John. Mr. Horn.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know the last few days have been emotional for you. It's been emotional for everyone. Emotion really began 5 years ago. Not just for this case, but for our community. And it has had some dividing and rippling effects. You've been sequestered, you haven't seen those things, but we have. We've seen how divided this community is over this case. Perhaps that could last and go on for a long time. You spoke very loud today when you found Megan Boswell guilty I think it's time that we end all of this on the right note. You have a chance to do that. I don't, state doesn't, judge doesn't, you do. You can put the defining moment, the period of what people will remember about this case, and perhaps you as jurors, because you did find her guilty. And now you have a chance to do and show the one thing that's been missing for the last 5 years. That's grace and love. We have all, everybody in this room has failed in some way in their life. It may not have resulted in a criminal charge. It may not have resulted in going to prison. But we've done something. We've wanted compassion. We've wanted grace. We've wanted love. That's how you can end this. That's how we can start to move on as a community. And you can show her what love looks like. Because you've heard how fractured and dysfunctional her family is. Mr. Scott told you in the trial, he didn't go through a lot of things in her life. I didn't either. But I knew my mom and dad loved me. They loved me to the end. My family now loves me to the end. I don't think she's seen what that looks like in her life. You're going to get a chance. Go back there and show her. You can tell her that she's redeemable. You can end it with grace and love. General Boswell told you about those mitigating factors. You'll get them in your jury instructions. Spare her life and give her life without parole. If there's anything good can come from this, is that we can all move forward, knowing that you got the verdict that you wanted, and you ended it with the emotion of love and compassion. That's what will be remembered. And I hope that's what you do. Don't be remembered for just compounding the tragedy and the tragedy and the tragedy. So easy to do that. The lasting impression that you give Evelyn, that you give Megan, that you give this community, is that love and grace can still be found through all of us. And we ask you to give her life and let her have a chance to come out one day. That's justice as well. Justice for everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Jim.
Thank you, Judge. Ladies and gentlemen, your job at this point is to determine whether or not the state has proven the aggravating factor that we alleged. And as General Massengill told you, that was simply related to the age of the child as well as the age of Ms. Boswell. And clearly through her birth certificate, we have proven that aggravating factor. So then your job will be to weigh the mitigating factors that the defense has put on for you against that aggravating factor, which we have met our burden of proving. Mr. Horns asked you to end this case on the right note, and they would agree. You should end this case on the right note, and you should show Megan Boswell the same compassion and grace that she showed Evelyn. Evelyn wasn't shown any compassion. She wasn't shown any grace. You know, the one person that Evelyn should have been able to rely on to protect her, to keep her safe, abandoned her, discarded her. She doesn't deserve your compassion, your grace. The state asks that you weigh the aggravating factor that we've proven in this case, the fact that Evelyn Boswell, at the time she was dumped in a trash can, wasn't even 13 months old, never had a chance. we ask that you return a verdict we've requested of life without parole.
Thank you, General. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've got another set of instructions I've got to read to you. In the criminal court for Sullivan County, Tennessee at Longville, State of Tennessee versus Megan Boswell, defendant. Case S72869. Jury instructions. Fixing punishment of life imprisonment or life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Members of the jury, you have now found the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of first-degree murder in the perpetration of first-degree murder as charged in the first count, and first-degree murder in the perpetration of a felony as charged in the second and third counts of presentment number S72869. It is now your duty to determine, within the limits prescribed by law, the penalty which shall be imposed as punishment for these offenses. Tennessee law provides that a person convicted of first-degree murder and first-degree murder in the perpetration of a felony shall be punished by imprisonment for life without possibility of parole or by imprisonment for life. A defendant who receives a sentence of imprisonment for life shall not be eligible for release until the defendant has served at least 51 full calendar years of such sentence. A defendant who receives a sentence of imprisonment for life without parole shall never be eligible for release. In arriving at this determination, you are authorized to weigh and consider any of the statutory aggravating circumstances proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and any mitigating circumstances which may have been risen by the evidence throughout the entire course of this trial, including the guilt-finding phase or sentencing phase or both. The jury is the sole judge of the facts and of the law as it applies to the facts in this case. In arriving at your verdict, you are to consider the law in connection with the facts, that the court is the proper source from which you are to get the law. In other words, you are the judges of the law as well as the facts under the direction of the court. The burden of proof is upon the state to prove any statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt is that doubt created by an investigation involving proof in the case and an inability after such investigation to let the mind rest easily as to the certainty of your verdict. Absolute certainty is not demanded by law, but moral certainty is required, and this certainty is required as to every element of proof necessary to constitute the verdict. The law makes you, the jury, the sole and exclusive judges of the credibility of the witnesses and the weight to be given to the evidence. The defendant has not taken the stand to testify as a witness during the sentencing hearing, but you shall place no significance on this fact. The burden is on the state to prove any aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. She is not required to take the stand in her own behalf, and her election not to do so cannot be considered for any purpose against her, nor can any inference be drawn from such fact. Statutory aggravating circumstances. Tennessee law provides that no sentence of imprisonment for life without possibility of parole shall be imposed by a jury, but upon a unanimous finding that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of one or more of the statutory aggravating circumstances, which shall be limited to the following. 1. The murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age, and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. TCA 39-13-204I. 1. Members of the jury, the court has read to you the aggravating circumstance which the law requires you to consider if you find proved beyond a reasonable doubt. You shall not consider any other facts or circumstances as an aggravating circumstance in deciding whether imprisonment for life without possibility of parole would be the appropriate punishment in this case. Mitigating circumstances. Tennessee law provides that in arriving at the punishment, the jury shall consider, as previously indicated, any mitigating circumstances raised by the evidence which shall include, but are not limited to, the following. 1. The defendant has no significant history of prior criminal activity. 2, the youth or advanced age of the defendant at the time of the crime. 3, the defendant experienced an unstable and chaotic home life as a small child and teenager. 4, the defendant witnessed domestic violence and physical altercation between her parents in the home. 5, the defendant witnessed her parents participate in drug use and abuse as a child and teenager. 6, the defendant experienced numerous school transfers during her academic career. 7, the defendant's primary positive role model and protector died when she was 12 years of age or 12 years old. 8, the defendant had only limited access to positive family influences throughout her life. 10, the defendant participated as a caregiver to her handicapped brother and younger sister. 11, any other mitigating factor which is raised by the evidence produced by either the prosecution or defense at either the guilt or sentencing hearing. That is, you shall consider any aspect of the defendant's character or record or any aspect of the circumstances of the offense favorable to the defendant which is supported by the evidence. The defendant does not have the burden of proving a mitigating circumstance. There is no requirement of jury unanimity as to any particular mitigating circumstance or that you agree on the same mitigating circumstance. Verdict: life imprisonment or life imprisonment without possibility of parole. If you do not unanimously determine that a statutory aggravating circumstance has been proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt, the sentence shall be life imprisonment. You will write your verdict upon the enclosed form attached hereto and made part of this charge. The verdict shall be as follows. We, the jury, unanimously find that the punishment shall be life imprisonment. If you unanimously determine that a statutory aggravating circumstance has been proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt, you shall, in your considered discretion, sentence the defendant either to imprisonment for life without possibility of parole or to imprisonment for life. In choosing between the sentences of imprisonment for life without possibility of parole and imprisonment for life, you shall weigh and consider the statutory aggravating circumstance proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt and any mitigating circumstance or circumstances. In your verdict, you shall reduce to writing the statutory aggravating circumstance so found, and you shall return your verdict upon the enclosed form attached hereto and made part of this charge. The verdict should be as follows. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has proven the following listed statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Here lists the statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances found. You shall then indicate on the enclosed verdict form either we, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life without possibility of parole, or we, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life. The verdict must be unanimous and signed by each juror. I've got verdict forms for you. Okay. I have verdict forms for you, and I will read those. Verdict form, count 1. Punishment of imprisonment for life. We, the jury, unanimously determine that no statutory aggravating circumstance has been proven by the state beyond a reasonable doubt. We, the jury, therefore find that the sentence shall be imprisonment for life. Signature line, jury foreperson, signature line for each juror to sign. A date with a line. Verdict form, count 1, continue. Punishment of imprisonment for life without the possibility of parole or imprisonment for life. We, the jury, unanimously find the state has proven the following statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Check the box of any statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances you find beyond a reasonable doubt. Check box. The murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age, and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. Below, check one box only. Check box. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life without possibility of parole, or check box. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life. Signature line, jury foreperson, signature line for each juror. Date, signature, blank. And the same exact form verbatim for counts 2 and count 3. Take the case, consider all the evidence fairly and impartially. Complete one of the
2 forms for each count. And report your verdict to the court. All right. Go with the officers. Everyone stand, please. You may be seated. Thank you. All right. Jury's out at 12:09 p.m. to consider sentencing. This court will be in recess, waiting the verdict of the jury. Court stands in recess.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to tell you something right now.
Go ahead.
How dare the defense get up and ask for anybody to give that monster grace and love and show her grace and love? I'm sorry. You brutally murdered your daughter and you want grace and love? Huh. That went out the door along with the rest of your privileges as a freaking monster that's going to be in prison. So no, you get nothing.
My goodness. And the term life in prison is confusing because every state's different. We had someone yesterday saying something about Leilani's trial, and I said, well, this is Tennessee. It's not Georgia.
Yeah.
Like life in Oklahoma is till you die.
Yeah.
Life in like New York could be like 20 years, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you what, if I think that these jurors are just as disgusted as the rest of us are. And if that didn't just appall them that guy, and I get it. They've got to go up there and say something for their client. I understand all that. But I'm sorry, going up there and asking for grace and love would not been the words that I chose if I was forced in that position. It just wouldn't be. And how dare you? Because it's just like it's a smack in the face to Evelyn. And hasn't she been through enough as it is? I mean, really?
Imagine the torture that little baby went through.
Oh my God.
The torture.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Little thing. And she's trying to figure out why, her little buns hurt so bad because her mom wouldn't change her. She's having to maneuver around that trailer that was full of garbage. I don't know. We were talking earlier. Who's the worst housekeeper? Megan or Candace?
Yeah. Yeah. Toss a quarter up and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing is there's 20 charges. You know what I mean? Look, how do you not 20 charges? If you think that she done this and you found her guilty without a reasonable doubt of premeditated murder, then there's no other option here. And damn it, if we don't start doing some things to hold people accountable, like, you know what I mean? It's so infuriating that people just think that they can just, go through and never have to pay for anything. I can't stand that. I'm so over that. That's why we are where we are today. I'm sorry, but it is.
Oh, yeah. And I get that Tommy was trying to do the right thing for his daughter. I'm sure he lived with a bunch of guilt, had a bunch of problems with Angela. That's easy to see. But I mean, she's given a place to live. She's given a car.
Yeah.
Her dad is sitting there in the interrogation room saying, I told you, if you need anything and I'm not home, just tell Ashley. Ashley will watch her. Ashley will get, diapers, whatever you need. There was nothing here.
Well, and I think that's part of her problem. She was given every single thing. She never had to work for anything. I don't know about y'all, but my parents took really good care of me. And in consideration to some other people, I may be spoiled also, but they didn't just hand shit to me. Like, I had to earn it. You know what I mean? I had to go and earn it. And, it was, I don't understand that. That's how I'm raising my kid. Like, my kid's spoiled rotten. He's my child. Of course he's spoiled. But I make him earn it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just given to him because he's upright and breathing. Like, I breathed that air into you, so you're not gonna. You don't just get to get it because you get it. You know what I mean?
You
I don't want him to be a brat. You know?
You can tell when something's free is when you see like a nasty ass car, a nasty ass house, and stuff like that. It's like, if you don't work for it, you're not going to take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where we're at here. And she just was, allowed to go do whatever because mom and perhaps dad too was just out everywhere. You know what I mean? Doing their own thing, and who cares, and raise yourself, And I feel sorry for people like that. And I have some compassion with that. But at the same time, like, you're still a human being and you can choose, between right and wrong. You know what you should and shouldn't do. And, you know that you shouldn't murder your child. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a silly thing to say. I get it, but I understand that people have trauma, and trauma sometimes affects people's lives and things that happens in their life. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know why you wouldn't use that for fuel to make yourself a better human being and to absolutely break that cycle. That's what my dad did. And I admire him every day when I think about how things are these days. He could have turned out to be terrible. He absolutely could have been a terrible human being and should have by all rights, according to the way things are today, but no, he chose to do something different. And
some people like things like, money coming in on Friday, and lights, and warm water, and cleanliness, and, a pump that doesn't leak. It's really a simple procedure. But to people like Megan, no, it's all about her damn tail. Who am I going to be with next? What boy's going to pay attention to me? And you can't say it's a bad daddy syndrome because Tommy was taking care of everything.
That's right. Well, and again, you can go through hard things and go through traumas in your life. You know what I mean? Everybody goes through them at some point in time, but don't make you a murmur. You know what I mean? Like, and the brutality of what she did. Like, I think it's one thing to think about what she's done, period. You killing your child. That's just pathetic and disgusting. There's never excuse. And then you think of the brutality, like, it. And here's another thing that everybody says. It's really somebody is really mad at me. Apparently, that's okay.
Hold on, Coffee. Talking about Coffee said, "Wow, judging Jesus." Yeah. We didn't make the judgment. The jury did. The jury
sure did.
20 counts.
That's right.
She stuck her baby in a trash can upside down and let her die.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are saying judging. I wasn't on the jury. Were you?
I wasn't either. Nope. Sure wasn't. I sat right here at the house and watched this and went one day to witness it myself, but I sure wasn't on the jury. So, and I have the right to judge at this point because it's been, the gavel has failed at this point. Well, almost, not completely yet, but.
Yeah. I have a feeling Jesus is somewhere in this chat because that's just how it hangs. But I guarantee he was in that courtroom today to give wisdom to the jury.
Amen.
Which Dark Willow said, I don't feel bad one bit for judging her. I don't either. When I talk about Candace too, people are like, why are you always talking about her looks and how slow she is and everything? I could give a rat's ass about any of that. I'm talking about how she is taking care of her house and her kids.
Right. Lack thereof of all of it. Exactly.
I mean, 3 states removed her children. You can't tell me all 3 states were wrong.
That's right. Yep. Amen to that. That's, I look forward to the day that we can get justice for Summer too. And I sit here and take this case right here, for instance, and I know that, they were able to move faster and find Evelyn, thank goodness, and all that. And circumstances are a little bit different. I understand that. We don't really know what's happened to Summer. And quite frankly, we don't really know what happened to Evelyn either, to be honest, because there's a coward that sits out there at the table and she'll never admit to what actually happened. However, what we do know, we know she's a monster, but, I don't know if we'll ever find Summer. I don't know if we'll ever, find out exactly what happened to her either. But I pray one day I get to hear about whoever's responsible. And how I feel. Whoever's responsible, I get to go watch them and sit in trial and listen to what they have done as well, because I want to see justice served in my backyard. I want to see it to the end. And we're not quitting. We're not going to give up. We haven't given up. We're not giving up on Summer. And if it takes us 10 more years, and it does, I pray to God it don't. But at some point in time, justice will prevail. I have a feeling. I've got it in my bones, and I'm not going to steer away from it. I just can't.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm doing a show about her on Monday to go through the latest interview that Dawn gave. But I mean, Dawn's, blah, blah, blah going on. I really doesn't really pique my interest. I mean, of course I'm going to read it. I'm going to watch it, whatever. But, when the TBI agent, Josh Melton, reemphasized, we have nothing saying she was abducted or wandered off. Well, what does that leave? Something foul AF happened on that property or somewhere around them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, you keep getting this accident theory. They tried that during the trial too, talking about that, maybe it was an accident or whatever. Listen, accidents do happen. And unfortunately, people die from accidents. However, you don't roll your baby up in a tinfoil in a blanket and stick them upside down in a trash can alive to die for 2.5 months. Ever do you do that? And was it an accident with Summer? Perhaps it was, but you can't call 911 because you're afraid you're going to get in trouble, but you don't love your children enough to put them first, whether you're getting in trouble or not. Mm-hmm. I don't understand that. And how do you say that it was an accident and she's in the position that she was in the trash? What? These people are demented.
Yeah, I have a theory on that. I was talking to Angel P about it yesterday. I said, I think she did put her in there all wrapped up and upside down. Sure. I said, but when I see the fingerprints, around the lip of the trash can, I think it's because Evelyn was kicking around to get out, hence why her fingerprints were at the bottom of the can. And she went out there and she picked it back up and sat it down and gave her that final shove.
I absolutely think the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely do. And it breaks my soul to say that. But yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it's totally, there's the what was it? A sticker that was on there too. The little palm print thing that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that broke my soul. Absolutely broke my soul to hear that. Cause very likely it was hers. And it just, oh my gosh, it was a gut punch moment to hear that. And
I was just like, okay, it's bad enough that you put your dead baby in there. But then when we hear that she was actually struggling.
Yes.
And the imprint of the blanket and, Maggie didn't, or Megan, I say Maggie because that's how I was, introduced to the case. Everyone called her Maggie. But anyway, Megan, I'm sure she had her wrapped up as tight as possible. So her little chubby leg wouldn't have been hanging out.
No.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, oh gosh, that's just terrifying. Oh, it's terrifying to think about. And you know what? I'm so happy the state of Tennessee, they did their job. I was, I can't say that I was a little bit leery at first. You know what I mean? I think I was, just because of the way it quickly came to they came to and rested. It really concerned me, but, they did their job, and the citizens of Sullivan County stand-up job. Thank you. They did a great job too. And I can't even imagine having to sit through that trial every day, day in, day out. Also being in sequestration. I can't imagine how that's been either. Like being away from your family, but they've done it. They did a great job. They did their duty, and they found her guilty without there's no doubt in my mind either. Obviously I couldn't have been on the jury because I'd already made up my mind in 2020. So I couldn't have been on the jury, but nonetheless, I just appreciate it. I'm grateful that justice has prevailed for Evelyn finally after 5 long years. And
that's one thing that's always blown my mind. 5 years. This should have been done in 2021.
Yep.
But she just kept on and kept on and kept on with Brad Sperls. They couldn't get along. And then, of course, when you change attorneys, this is a lot to go through. It takes them time to prepare to defend your nasty ass.
That's right. And I'm pretty sure it was 1.5 years whenever this other guy took over for her, if I'm not mistaken. And he had to have 1.5 years. You're right. It is a lot, especially with the amount of lies that she told. You know what I mean? My gosh. Trying to follow everything and try to catch up on the case, which I'm sure he probably heard a little bit about it anyway, but nonetheless, it's a lot. But I don't know. I don't think that they'll come back with a weak sentence. I truly don't.
Either. I think it's going to be without parole.
Yeah, I do too, and I think it'll be relatively quick. Honestly, I think that they, I feel like most of them probably had their minds made up, and they come back less than 4 hours for the guilty verdict. And I think they just really wanted to sleep on it, honestly, and make sure that, that's what they wanted to do because I don't know, it's Tennessee, us people in the South, a lot of us people in the South, it's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and you do something like this and you're going to pay for it, and that's what we need to get back to our grassroots and do, in my opinion. So,
absolutely.
Accountability.
Yeah, I'm glad that chick, what's her name? Tiffany, what's her name? Adams, the one that killed Athena Brownfield.
No, yes.
Yeah, in Oklahoma, they're going after the death penalty for her.
Good.
So she tried to take a plea agreement to guilty and then changed her mind. So now death penalty's back on the table.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to do an update on that. I've been so busy with Evelyn.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you. So at this point, they do not know when the jury will decide the sentence.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is prepare another thumbnail, and when they're ready, then we'll jump in and we can hear the sentence.
That sounds good.
Sounds good to me. And I thank you so much, Jess, for coming up.
You're welcome.
The other day.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just relieved. I was very nervous after what went down yesterday.
Me too.
I thought, whoa, they might just give her manslaughter. I don't know.
Yeah, I was holding my breath too. I was really nervous. So I'm grateful for it too. But wish us luck. We're getting ready to head down the road to Atlanta. So.
Well, you have fun in Atlanta, and if I don't catch you on the show, then I'll just text you what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be listening going down the road though, for sure. I'll be keeping a check on everything. We're a few hours out from leaving anyway, but.
Okay. All right, you guys, let's say thank you again to Muscles and Mascara, who took the world's longest shower. I'm going to call the Guinness Book of World Records.
I got a phone call just as soon as I got out, dang it. That's my kid that takes the long showers. He's the one that runs the water out.
Yeah, that was hilarious. All right, you guys, I'll see you back as soon as the sentence is announced. You're the absolute best. Love you.
Love you. Bye.